Hey, this is Stacia, and this is my round 3 game from the Julia Memorial. I am going to make this one fast because this is the worst game I've ever played in my life. And I don't want to show it to you guys. I really don't. But maybe there's a lesson in here somewhere. So we are going to have a look. This is painful though. All right, so I was playing a teenager named VJ. I faced him back when he was like 11 or 12, and he was getting good then. He was like 1500. Now we're both 1700, so at least I kept up with him. All right, but in this game, he played the French defense with e6. So I went d4, taking the center, d5, and knight d2, which is the terrace variation. And he went c5. Now this is the open terrace variation. The other way black can play is to just go ahead and play knight f6, kind of provoke e5, come away like this, and after bishop d3, then c5. We just protect our pawn with c3, and okay, like knight c6, knight here, queen b6. If you go into this, the whole point of the terrace variation is that you get your knights situated like this, where they can protect the pawn. Also, we could get c3 in and protect the pawn. If the knight was on c3, guess what? You can't play c3 and you can't protect the pawn. And like, so, okay, so like, yeah, that's why we do this weird stuff. Getting our knights. But then black kind of runs out of steam. Like they can do this all they want. The best thing they have then is to break with f6, but we'll talk about that another time. In this game, yeah, this is the open terrace variation. And from what I've studied on it, it's best to just go ahead and trade in the center. I wanted to play knight f3, but if we play knight f3, I feel like black can just trade everything like right now. Like, why not, like, take. I mean, okay, I don't know what's going on here, but I know we don't have any center pawns. And if I ask the computer, it says white has an edge. But, yeah, I guess we're threatening knight b5. Not that it's that much of a threat, but okay, I mean, is this how we want to play? I don't think it is. So that's why I don't go knight f3, allowing them to trade everything. I first take. And the idea is to open the e file. This is what I'm trying to do. And use that to our advantage, like before black's ready. So he didn't allow that. He took with the queen. And this is, I think, why they take with the queen. Because there's an obvious tempo with bishop c4 coming. Okay, so I go here. He takes bishop c4. All right, I think this is all theory. Yeah, it's totally theory. Queen d6 theory. Castles. Knight f6. And now we need to regain our pawn. So I played knight to b3. Now I thought if he pushes the pawn, he's going to end up in big trouble. I'll use the computer to help me out with this, but I thought this is just bad, and it is. Computer agrees. Wow, it says knight g5, which I didn't consider. But yeah, it makes some sense, doesn't it? And if they go here, then we take it. They take back, and we go f4. Wow. Computer is brutal. All right, well, let's just say they take. Well, then we get to take with tempo on that queen. And after the queen moves away somewhere, we get rook e1 then. So it's still the same thing. This is like a crazier version. But we're using that e file. So, so like after e5, honestly, I was thinking about maybe knight takes e5. Because I thought, you know, they can't take back. It looks pretty good to me. So that's the third best move. Rook e1's also a move. Okay. Anyway, I think we understand the e file is important. It will continue to be important. So after knight f6, knight b3, Knight c6. Okay. So they have 2 protectors on the pawn. I have 3 attackers. It's time to take the pawn. So I took it. Now, everything that I played has been 100% correct. And my opponent was thinking here a little bit. So I got up because I had to go to the bathroom. And I started making it over to the bathroom, which is kind of a long way away. Usually when I do this, I stop and check out my students' games on the way because I'm too curious. I have to look. It's just in my mind, I have to look. So like my 2 students, who I affectionately call the Amazing Twins, mostly because they're amazing and they're twins. So, and then I ran into Sophia in the bathroom where she made a comment about her game. Of course, I don't want to encourage talk about games outside of the chessboard, but she's just like, oh, I got this line I know, and I think I'm winning. I'm like, okay, that's great. That's great. I said very minimal, but I was obviously happy for her. Why am I telling this story? Because I don't want you guys to make the same mistake that I made, okay? Like, I feel like this whole adventure to the bathroom and getting my mind off the game and everything is the reason why when I come back to the board, I make an absolute blunder. And it's because I already knew what I was going to do, right? Like I knew in my mind that he's going to take the knight. And when he does that, I just take back. This is what I was going to do, right? Like I could also take with the queen, but you just take back. So I came back to the board and I was considering stuff in the bathroom too. I'm just like, whoa, what if I go bishop e3 next and this and that? And I was imagining the position in my mind. I'm usually halfway decent at that. I can, when you stare at a position for 20 minutes, I mean, you can remember it. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll have bishop e3 and rook e1 and queen e2 and all these different moves I can play, and it should be interesting. So I had already decided my move, and I came back to the board confident, and I played bishop e3. I didn't give it any thought at all. I just picked up my bishop and moved it to e3. It was the move I was thinking about. This is not the move to play right now. It was like a move down the line. I wanted to play this. So, my opponent was very confused and maybe a little scared because I'm sacking a piece, right? I'm sacking a piece, not on purpose, aka a blunder. After like 10 minutes, he finally plays knight c6, and I just go, oh. And what's even more embarrassing, but I will share it, is that there are more moves. I went like queen e2, he goes bishop e7. I don't think it was until this position. Actually, it might have been like here even, that I was like, hey, where'd my knight go? Like, I used to have a knight. Like, I did not notice right away that I just lost a piece. Like, the position in my mind was different than the position on the actual board. And, I could blame ADHD. I could blame a lot of stuff. But, I mean, at the end of the day, that's just a beginner mistake. Now, my trainers, my coaches and trainers, there's only 2 at this point, really. They both tell me, like, look, I mean, it was really Calvin that said, every grandmaster knows that when you come back from a bathroom break or any break at all, you have to reset yourself. You have to stare at that board. You have to rework stuff. You can't just sit down and make a move. And I think this is the second time, but a far worse offense, that this kind of thing happened to me. So yeah, that's basically the game. I have nothing else to share. I mean, I'm down a piece. I can tell you that I didn't resign, which I think is a correct choice. I could have resigned and just rested for the next game, but I mean, it was very early. My next game wasn't for like 4 hours. I thought, hey, I sack pawns and pieces all the time. Let's just attack him like a crazy person and see what happens. Well, I can tell you what happened. I attacked very quickly, like in terms of clock time, because I thought the only way I win this game is if I attack like a crazy person, just throw all my pieces at his king, and he sits there and calculates and gets scared and then loses on time. Or he gets scared, gets low on time, and blunders. So, I just try to mix it up, attack like crazy. So I give away a knight, because why not? I'm going to go rook h1, h4, h6. Okay, but at some point, of course, like here, he gets to challenge my queen. At some point, black's basically consolidated here. I'm down 2 pieces at this point, and this bishop is now has a really strong role, pinning the f3 pawn and lined up with my king and all that. So, but I can tell you that my opponent got down to 2 minutes. So this strategy almost got me a draw or win. But in the end, my opponent figured it out. But after the game, like, it really was him sitting there for 2 hours, like, just nervous and trying to, like, figure out my defenses. I mean, this is slow time control, right? He used, like, all of his time. So, I did not do that. I was making moves fairly quickly and just calculating and just throwing pieces at his king. That was my one goal. But I do believe that was the right strategy. So I'm at least proud of myself for not resigning and just like going back to my room. Like, what's the point? I at least fought on and tried for the tiny chance that I had, which is maybe like a 5% chance that I could still win or draw. But it was kind of fun to play. It's different playing chess when you feel like you're already lost and you have nothing to lose. So I actually enjoyed it in that sense, that I wasn't nervous about it. I'm just like, yeah, if this works, great, but it won't. Okay. That was that game. I think we talked more than enough about it. Sorry that it was mostly story, but that was the worst mistake I've ever made as a chess player, and I do not intend to do that again. And if I can help you guys avoid it, please heed my words of advice. It was not fun. I'll see you next video, because guess what? I wanted to withdraw, but I did not. I woke up in the morning and I said, I do not want to play chess. I'm going to go play my game. But things start to turn around. So stay tuned for the next video.